In this video, we're going to install the Dynomax UltraFlow catback system in the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Stay tuned. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that the entire reason for changing the exhaust system is just to change the note to be a little bit more aggressive. I've made the selection to go with the Dynomax purely because of how it sounds and the price point. I did listen to both the Corsa and the Borla as well. I did like the Corsa probably the best out of all of them, but from a price point perspective and because there's no performance gains in the Jeep Grand Cherokee 5.7 liter Hemi, by changing out the exhaust it just makes more financial sense to go with the Dynomax. So I did that. I ordered it from Summit Racing. It was back ordered, took about 6 weeks to get here, but now it's arrived and we're going to get that installed. So this is the stock exhaust, and you can see the rubber hanger, and we're just going to shoot a little WD-40 in there just to lubricate it to make it a little bit easier to slip those things off of there. We really just have these holding it up, and then there's a couple more down there on each side of the skid plate thing under there, and then I'll probably just take those off and drop the whole exhaust system and pull it out of the back and then piece the other sections together. Anyway, we'll let that soak for a second and then we'll go work on the front up there. So I don't really have a lot of ground clearance here, not as much as I would like to get up under there, but you can see that here's the rubber hanger for the exhaust system, and we're going to have to take these spring bolts off. I have to take these spring bolts out, and that'll detach it from the front there, and then it'll drop from here down. So we'll really just have these bolts to do on each side, and I'd like to take these hangers off because it's going to be too hard to pull that out of there, but take these bolts off and then take the 2 bolts, one on each side here, to drop that off as well, and then this whole front part should drop, and then we get the back pulled out of the rubber hangers there, and then the whole exhaust system should come right out. The issue again is just the ground clearance. Just don't think I have enough room, so I'm going to have to get some ramps. I mean, I have a pair of ramps, I just didn't really want to use them, but I'll put the Jeep on the ramps. Okay, that was a little bit of a pain in the ass. You just take a screwdriver and you can work that rubber hanger off of that post, and on the other side I tried to take that muffler off, but as you can see it's rusted so bad it just started stripping. And then there's another one up here that was a little harder to get off. So I had to push the muffler away from it to pop that off. And the other side, there's a grounding strap right there that connects to it, so you got to pull that off too. So now this is just hanging, so I'm going to put the jack underneath of it to hold that up, and then I can work on the front. Okay, this is what the other side looks like. I just got a grill tray from my grill because it's stainless steel as well, and put it across the jack, and I just got it lifted up enough again to take the pressure off of this part, these, so I can undo it. As you can see from this rubber hanger, has a post that goes in, where is it? Go in this way, and then another one right next to it comes out that way. So the best thing to do is to take these screws out and drop the whole thing. But before we do that, we got to do these spring bolts. So let's take those off. There's 2, one here and one up right there, and then 2 on the other side. You can see those better. One there, one there. Take those off so that this is disconnected, and then we could take those brackets off. Okay, that side is off. Got one more to take off on this side. The top one's off already, so I just got to get this bottom one off, and then wherever those mounts are right there, gotta get it in camera, take those off, and then this whole thing is going to drop. Okay, let's do it. Those bolts were pretty easy to come out. They're pretty short too, so Didn't take too long. It looks like it's being held up probably by that still. I got that jack under it, but it's not dropping, so that's good. Now I got the other one to do, and then we can get this thing out of there. Well, I took a little break and went and grabbed a bite to eat with my wife, so now I just finished and it's really late, so I'm not going to be able to show you all the steps. It went in pretty easy. The back hangers were probably the hardest part, because you put the front, I don't know what they are, mufflers in, and then you have like this X pipe, and then it goes back to the mufflers to go into the hangers. Keep all the bolts loose, and that'll help you kind of wiggle around. I got the one muffler in, and then I went to get the other one in, and it just wouldn't fit. So I got under the car again and was looking, and there was a twist in the pipe, the X pipe. So I, kind of moved everything around again a little bit, and it all kind of popped right into space. And then I was able to put the muffler in, no problem. Tighten all the clamps down, tightened it up to the catalytic converter, and now we're just going to take the bubble wrap off, fire this thing up, and get off the jacks. Okay, we're going to fire it for the first time. I'm going to do a remote start. Nice. The droning, the droning, the droning. So my wife and I were in the car a lot today. Just finished putting the exhaust system on last night. It was dark by the time I finished it. It sounded good from outside. What doesn't sound good is the interior cabin drone. It's just horrible. I mean, I put like the loudmouth exhaust system on a Mustang and it was fine. The interior cabin of this car it's painful. That's the best thing I can say. 4 hours in the car with my wife and I, just the droning was driving us completely nuts. Tomorrow morning, I'm just too tired tonight, but tomorrow morning I'm gonna put this thing back on the skids, take a look at it, make sure all the connections are right, make sure nothing's hitting or rubbing, get all the alignment ready or checked and adjusted if needed. Hopefully it's something about the alignment, and I can get what I really wanted, was an exterior deep aggressive note and a somewhat quiet interior cabin. I mean, I know realistically you're going to get a little bit of a different tone inside, and that's fine. I just don't want the level of noise that we've had today. So I'll put it on the ramps tomorrow, take a look at it. Hopefully there's some adjustments that can be made. If I can't figure it out, I'm putting the stock system back on. There's just no way I'm going to be able to live with this interior drone like this. So that's today's update. I'll let you know how it ends up tomorrow. Thanks. I think it's fixed. I think it's fixed. I took a look at the everything. The exhaust tips coming out of the back of the Jeep, how it was laid out inside or underneath the Jeep, and I noticed that the X-pipe was turned. I also noticed that one of the exhaust tips was actually touching the plastic part of the bumper cover in the back, just on the rear passenger side. So I got underneath, noticed that it was twisted. I loosened all the clamps, loosened the resonators up front, and had to turn one of them just so that I could level out the X-pipe. So did that. I checked the entire length of the pipe. This is about the highest drone that I have right now, but it's only like between 48 and 52 miles an hour. When I'm trying to kind of maintain that speed, that's when the drone occurs. Anyway, so I adjusted everything, made sure it was nice and flat, ran my hand along the entire length of all the pipe to make sure that it wasn't touching or close to touching anything. The only connection points was the resonators connected to the catalytic converters, and then of course all the rubber anchors that were holding the exhaust system up. Nothing else is touching. So cranked down all the clamps, made sure that they were nice and tight, and got out of the car, took a look at it. Had to do a little bit of adjustments just to make sure that I could, more cosmetic, to make sure that the exhaust tips were symmetrically lined up. After that, the horrible droning has gone away. Like I said, there's a little bit, but that's to be expected. It is a louder exhaust system, but it's not headache inducing like it was before. So I'm calling that a success. So there we go. The Dynomax Ultra Flow installed on a Jeep Grand Cherokee 2013. Anyway, it's a success. If you're looking at installing the Dynomax, my only tip to you is just make sure all the connections are tight. Make sure that it's perfectly lined up and it's not touching anything, and you might be happy with your system like I am.